IGA supermarkets across our region say it's time.
It's time.
Time to shop locally at IGA.
Shop where you help support local manufacturers like Paul's, Hazeldene's, Tip Top.
Love the deli.
Shop knowing that when you sit down to dinner, lunch, a snack, you're keeping your dollar local.
Shop where your local supermarket supports your community.
It's our price match. Fresh produce. Market days.
Huge meat sales.
It's time.
It's time to shop locally at IGA.
Across central Victoria, this is Win News.
Tonight, Central Victorians pause to commemorate a different kind of Anzac Day. 100,000 coronavirus tests to be carried out in 2 weeks. And the launch of the controversial COVID-19 tracing app. Good evening, I'm Bruce Roberts. Also tonight, 2 Wedderburn farmers spice up their wheat farm. It was an Anzac Day unlike any other as Australians honoured our fallen and veterans from home. It was the first time in more than 100 years dawn services were interrupted, but respect for those who paid the ultimate sacrifice is stronger than ever.
We were asked to light up the dawn and Australians answered the call. Candles pierced the darkness in streets across the country as proud neighbours stood in their driveways for a dawn service of a different kind.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old.
Keeping their distance, they came together. The makeshift services simple, but no less moving. From local musicians to handheld technology, the last post and national anthem rang out as dawn broke. The traditional national service was eerily quiet, still watched by thousands, but from afar. Only a handful of leaders were in attendance.
Through these 102,000 men and women, and the millions more who have worn our nation's uniform, we come to understand what love of family, community and country truly means.
In daylight, a moment of quiet reflection at regional war memorials. No march this year, but a handful still came out to pay their respects to servicemen and women, past and present. On this street in the state's northeast, Leona Gibbs played the last post for residents in a mid-morning service. It was the first time since 1919 services have been interrupted. But during an unusual time for Australians, the Anzac spirit's proven stronger than ever.
We will remember them.
Beth Excel, Win News.
And Central Victorians did their part to help commemorate the day with instruments and installations. Many described the morning as eerie, but one they'll never forget.
Unable to fulfil usual Anzac Day traditions, Central Victorians did their bit to remember, and while the classic bugle might have been missing, some took it upon themselves to pay tribute. Teenager Cameron Downing Mooney spent the past 3 weeks learning the last post on his saxophone.
I've been working hard at playing it over and over, in the backyard, out the front, everywhere. Just trying to get it down pat before the day came by.
Fellow musician Brodie Tuckerman used her talent on the bagpipes in a rendition of Amazing Grace.
To be honest, my whole family thought it'd be respectful to show my appreciation.
From music to art, and at Gunbower, these hay bales lay prominent near the town's entrance, and at dawn in Bendigo, those that had a view of the Alhambra Theatre witnessed a spectacular light installation. For those whom the day has important family meaning, it was still a time of reflection.
Had a candle and a flag and a wreath that my nephews made.
The images of the many standing at their driveway will be a moment not forgotten for some time and serves a reminder for the support that Central Victorians have for Anzac Day. Will Hogan, Win News.
Up to 100,000 Victorians will be tested for coronavirus over the next 2 weeks as part of a major testing blitz. It's hoped it will give authorities a better understanding of how and when to ease current restrictions.
Since January, 104,000 coronavirus tests have been carried out across Victoria. Now, as part of a major testing blitz, the state government's aiming to test 100,000 people in the next 2 weeks.
We are undertaking the biggest ever public health testing process and program in our state's history.
The test results will provide crucial information.
That'll give us data and options to ease some of the restrictions potentially as we come to the end of the second 4-week state of emergency, or the 11th of May.
And the coronavirus curve continues to flatten, and there are currently 1,349 cases confirmed in Victoria.
I do want to foreshadow, not all restrictions will be coming off, no matter what the results of these tests. The risk would be far too high.
The testing blitz will be carried out through a combination of drive-through and walk-up clinics.
What we're going to emphasise now is that people with even the mildest of symptoms should think about presenting for symptoms. So a scratchy throat, a runny nose. There are even some unusual symptoms that are not that common, like loss of smell.
Health workers, aged care workers, people with symptoms, even the mildest symptoms, should come forward and get tested.
Abigail Blakey, Win News.
And cybersecurity experts say Aussies might have misplaced fears over the federal government's new COVID-19 tracing app. They say the limited information supplied for the app minimises risk, and assurances are in place to protect your privacy.
After its release last night, it only took a few hours for the federal government's coronavirus tracking app to hit 1 million downloads, despite some concerns over the security of personal details.
If a tool like this, which has got a potential to help, particularly tracing the contacts, people are likely to be very much supportive of that.
Using Bluetooth, the app detects others around you who've also downloaded it. If anyone's confirmed with coronavirus, anonymous IDs can then be traced to see who else could be at risk.
The COVID Safe app is about assisting, finding those cases which might be undiagnosed in the community, helping people to get earlier treatment.
Dr Gondal of Federation Uni says the limited information needed for the app, such as names, postcodes and phone numbers, minimise the risk of privacy violations.
Yes, there is a certain degree of risk there, but again, I think they are looking to manage it.
Experts say they're surprised by the outcry of concern, given the common sharing of information over other social media feeds, and hope this could start a dialogue about basic cyber safety.
Our data is being collected by many applications and the bigger corporations, and we don't know what purposes they use.
Louis Gillett, Win News.
Arts organisations at Castlemaine have welcomed a state government survival package to help save creative industries jobs. The groups are hoping the funding will help stabilise the sector against the ongoing financial effects of COVID-19.
Castlemaine, known for its creative and cultural identity, along with much of the arts industry, faced a dire prospect due to the coronavirus shutdowns.
For us, it's really meant that we have gone to bare bones. We have had to drop a lot of works in the moment.
But in promising news, 3 organisations have received vital funding in a $16.8 million survival package thanks to the state government.
The truth is that our creative and cultural sector are going to be amongst the last to come back. So we were faced with an immediate challenge.
The Castlemaine Art Museum and arts organisation Punctum welcomed the news today, hoping it will get them through while their source of revenue is hit.
It's a critical incentive to keeping connected, to keeping the support for independent artists, people in the creative industries.
While the town's state festival, which is run biannually, was not scheduled for this year, but also received funds in the hope it can go off with a bang next year when many expect the thirst for events will skyrocket.
Whatever the knock-on effects of, COVID are, we've got a little bit of breathing room to be able to respond to that.
Will Hogan, Win News.
Doctors are urging people to take care of their health and see their GP amid growing fears people aren't getting urgent medical treatment during the COVID-19 pandemic. The Australian College of General Practitioners has launched the campaign Expert Advice Matters and set up a website to provide patients with advice about receiving medical care remotely. It comes as some clinics report a 40% decrease in appointments. And when we return this Monday, the number of people accessing Kids Helpline continues to grow, and 2 Wedderburn farmers spice up their wheat farm. Fire restrictions have now ended across all parts of Victoria, with the danger period officially over. But the CFA and its crews are urging residents across the state to exercise extreme caution when burning off and to register with authorities. Kids Helpline is experiencing an unprecedented surge in calls for mental health counselling, registering 1 call every minute. The service says most calls are coronavirus related.
More children are feeling the impact of the bushfire and coronavirus crisis.
Well, at the end of February, we were averaging about 6,500 contacts a week to Kids Helpline. Now we're experiencing demand that's closer to 9,000 contacts a week.
Kids Helpline has experienced a 40% increase in calls on the same time last year, with a call coming in every minute, and most are concerned about the effects of coronavirus.
At the beginning, young people were very worried about the health and well-being of themselves, their family and the people they were close to. As we're going through this now, we're really starting to see young people concerned about the economic outcomes.
The mental health service is open to anyone aged between 5 and 25, and parents are also urged to remain vigilant about possible distress during these difficult times.
Changes in their behaviour and the way that they're interacting, perhaps becoming withdrawn, not wanting to be as connected as what they were.
If you need assistance, call Kids Helpline. Hershayla Kumarawansa, Win News.
The wine industry is one of many taking a hit during the pandemic, with cellar doors losing sales across Victoria. Winemakers are urging everyone to think local and buy direct to keep them afloat.
It was a great lead up to vintage this year.
We had mild weather right through the ripening season, and it's just ideal, just as we expect around here.
Overcoming some early stumbling blocks.
Luke Grenese has probably never been in such a good position before Christmas. And then after Christmas, we had the fires, we had the nasty weather, and already tourists were starting to drop off.
And then COVID-19 hit, taking out major importer China.
That stopped export sales in its tracks. And the smaller wineries can handle that for a little while. The big wineries who ship every week were hit straight away.
Wineries are now relying on deliveries and internet sales.
Thanks to our loyal supporters out there, we've had some good online sales.
And some are making most of the downtime.
Catching up on a lot of maintenance, which we just haven't had time to do at all. Deliveries, we've been doing that, spending a lot of time with my girls.
But we're still being urged to think local.
The best thing you can do by far is jump online and order, so order from the winery direct.
Geordie Wright, Win News.
Moving back to the Loddon Shire after travelling the world, Jude Hannah decided to spice up her life. She and her partner Neville Tonkin have gone against the grain and transformed a traditional wheat farm into a chilli farm.
It all started with a love of spicy food and what Jude Hannah calls an aggressive veggie garden.
I just said to Nev, after being in the States for 20 years, would like to try out a couple of jalapeno plants. And so we put in 2 plants.
That soon turned into more than 1,800 chilli and peppers planted 3 years ago. Jude and her partner Neville Tonkin transformed a wheat and sheep farm into something the region had never seen or imagined, a chilli farm.
Because chillies really aren't your everyday staple meal for communities around here. When we first put them in, they had a bit of a chuckle, but we're finding our dry conditions are a perfect setting.
They now produce pickled chillies, peri-peri sauces and a handful of dried chilli varieties. But this season hasn't been their best crop.
We had a lot of hot weather leading up to Christmas, and that caused a lot of the flowering to drop off the bushes, so we were put backwards probably about a month.
But they are seeing increasing online orders from across the state. It seems people are spicing it up in isolation. Shannon Schubert, Win News.
It's time for sport with Amy Duggan, and Heathcote District Footy is saying if there's no crowds, there's no netty and there's no footy aims.
That's right, Bruce. The league says it has looked at everything, including streaming games, but playing still looks unlikely. Plus, the young Bendigo basketballer Kai Daniels chasing an NBA dream. In sport, young Bendigo basketballer Kai Daniels is a step closer to fulfilling his dreams of playing in the NBA. Daniels has gained a scholarship to play college basketball in America.
Since he was in Year 10, Kai Daniels has put a lot of work into achieving his dream of playing college basketball.
I had to get in contact with coaches, which is the hardest part. So being an international player, obviously American coaches can't really come out here and just watch games. So I had to collect a lot of footage from like national championships.
Now that dream is coming true. Earlier this month, Daniels accepted a scholarship to play basketball at Regis University in Denver, Colorado.
Division II NCAA school, privately funded, so they've got very good facilities, and I had a FaceTime tour and I really liked what I saw, and all the teammates got in contact with me very early.
Kai's family proud of his achievement.
Very, very proud that he's living his dream. Really, it's still going, and everything he's worked for, it's exciting.
And he's got bigger dreams in mind.
The ultimate goal is to get to the NBA one day. Yeah, so hoping to grow a little taller and work on my skills in college, but yeah, that is the ultimate goal.
He's set to move over in August, given the travel restrictions are lifted. As for keeping fit at home in isolation, luckily he's got two younger brothers who are willing 1v1 opponents.
Just been out here playing basketball, shooting hoops with my brothers, a lot of 1v1s going on, yeah. Gets pretty competitive at times.
Abigail Blakey, Win News.
The Loddon Valley League is adamant its season won't go ahead unless clubs can play in front of crowds. While it hopes for mass gathering restrictions to ease, Heathcote District has also conceded playing without crowds is just not viable.
In a tough time, many are missing their local sport. And for the Heathcote District and Loddon Valley Leagues, leaders say anything resembling a normal season can't go ahead without crowds.
It may be viable at 500 or 600 for a home and away game, but certainly not for finals. We get 10,000 at our final, and I can't see that happening at the moment.
Local sport remains on hiatus, with leagues waiting to see if the government lifts the state of emergency on May 11.
I think it's getting into the too hard basket. Like as we sit here now, we're up to round 6. We would have been round 6, which is a third of our season gone already.
A shorter season with less playing time and even weeknight games has been discussed, as has live streaming.
There's nothing we haven't looked at. We've thrown it out there to live stream with a pay-per-view, without payment. We've tried everything, 8 or 9 different scenarios with draws.
But with clubs relying on people paying at the gates and buying from club bars and canteens, if restrictions on mass gatherings remain, it won't be financially viable to play.
It's like owning a pub and not selling beer, giving it away. It costs X amount of dollars each week to put your team on the ground.
Shannon Schubert, Win News.
And that's our sport.
Lovely, Amy. Thank you very much for that. We have Chris Polzot in the studio with your weather details after the break. More rain tomorrow, plus a wintry blast is on its way.
You get it all together.
Welcome back. Maximum temperatures were generally 3 to 5 degrees below the April average across Victoria today. And tonight's weather photo is from Nicole. Nicole snapped almost fuchsia-like colours across the sky at Kangaroo Flat. Brilliant timing on that one, Nicole. Thank you very much. Let's check those details now from today. It was a brisk morning with some areas of fog before clearing to a sunny day. We had some very cool temps in Castlemaine. For the early risers there, the mercury showed 1, but it actually felt more like a -1. Hopetoun had 99% humidity to start before the winds picked up slightly, dropping the humidity back to about 50% by 1 p.m. And winds light in Swan Hill. They did have temperatures feeling a few degrees cooler than what the mercury indicated though. On to the satellite. A high-pressure system centred over the Tasman Sea will drift eastward tonight. And on the synoptic chart, a strong cold front will cross waters south of the Bight tomorrow and then move across Victoria during Wednesday. To the forecast now for Central Vic, mostly sunny, some early morning fog towards the east, and there's a high chance of showers in the east as well, but a medium chance elsewhere. For Shepparton, 6 to 21 degrees, 22 will be the top for Hopetoun, 21 for Kerrang, and 22 once again for Swan Hill and for Balranald. For Bendigo tomorrow, sunny but possible late showers, 18 degrees. For Melbourne, sunny and remaining dry, a top of 20. In the days ahead, Wednesday will be cloudy and wet. There's a chance of a storm from the late morning. Heavy falls are possible. Thursday's looking partly cloudy with a high chance of showers, possible storm and hail in the evening. And then on Friday, increased cloud cover with a high chance of showers, most likely during the morning and into the early afternoon, and some possible hail once again. That's all for weather this evening. Be well, and a big thank you to those working tirelessly to keep us safe, Bruce.
Too true, Chris. Thank you very much for that, and thanks for your company tonight. We'll leave you with Anzac Day services across the region, a tribute to our veterans and our fallen, lest we forget.
This has been a Win News presentation. Win News, regional Australia's #1 news source.